I always begin my presentations, especially to an audience like this, the same way. I like to begin by making a few confessions. And if you've heard me speak before, you know what I'm about to say. Probably bear with me, please. And as a Catholic, and I'm feeling very welcomed here, which I love, confessions seem particularly appropriate. So my first confession is that my personality does not lend itself to these kind of big speeches. And again, you've probably heard me say this before, but bear with me. You see, my Myers-Briggs type, how many people here have done the Myers-Briggs? Show of hands. It's amazing how many people have. So I'm an ENFP. Are there any ENFPs? Yeah. They tend to, whoo, like that. That's an ENFP. We'll have a hugging station at door 3 afterward. You can come hug me. ENFPs like to hug. So the prayer of the ENFP, and all the Myers-Briggs types have a prayer. This is funny because I was going to ask this guy where he's going, where he's been. Okay, the prayer of the ENFP goes like this. Dear Lord, please help me to focus more and avoid all the oh, look, a bird. All the distractions that keep me. And there are so many distractions. I mean, there's people sitting up here. There's friends of mine in the front row. And there's all these, oh my goodness gracious. So I have to get through 60 minutes of material in 35 minutes. And I have to focus. And it's not easy for me. So I'm going to ask you to help me by tolerating my jumping around and by asking a question or two. The first 2 people that ask me a question are going to get a free book. But it can't be about, you know, can I have a free book? It has to be about the material. But it really does help me to be interrupted a little bit. That's my first confession. Second one is that everything I'm going to cover you already know. It's all very simple. And that's because Samuel Johnson, the great writer, had a great quote once. He said, people need to be reminded more than they need to be instructed. I love that quote. People need to be reminded more than they need to be instructed. And I believe that's completely true. I'm just a reminder. I'm going to remind you of things you already know, maybe in a way that will help you remember them and put them into practice. Okay? So Ken Blanchard really drove this point home for me once. Ken is such a nice guy. And the first time I met him, I spoke at a conference with him. I came off stage and he said, you know, Pat, why people like your books so much and why they buy them a lot. I said, well, why is that, Ken? He said, well, because it's all based in the Bible. And I was like, yeah, I knew that. Yeah, it's all based in the Bible. Yeah, that's right. Well, the older I get, and every time I write a book or I do something that I think is unique, I realize that Jesus or someone in the Bible influenced by Jesus or in the Old Testament has already said this. All we are doing is reminding ourselves of things. Now, the next confession I have to make is that my book is called Getting Naked, and that could sound a little salacious. You know, when it first came out, my son, who's now in 2nd grade, was in 1st grade, and he was in a carpool, and they were in our car, and one of the books was in the back seat laying there, and his friend turned to him and said, oh, I thought your dad was Catholic, you know? And I have seen people, especially in the church community, take the cover off when they take it with them on an airplane.